On February 24th, 2026, billions of dollars evaporated from the stock market in minutes. Not because of a banking crisis, not because of a war or a natural disaster, because Anthropic, the company behind Claude, released three plugins. Three plugins for Microsoft Office. And the market panicked in a way that nobody had ever seen before for a software announcement. Thomson Reuters. LexisNexis. Companies worth tens of billions of dollars. They watched their stock prices crater in a single trading session. The legal research industry lost more money in one day than most startups raise in a lifetime. Investors didn't wait for quarterly earnings. They ran the numbers immediately and got out. And here is the thing that should terrify you. This was not a bug. This was not an accident. This was the plan. Anthropic did not stumble into disrupting billion-dollar industries. They aimed for it. Claude just declared war on Microsoft Office. And your job is collateral damage. Let me break down what just happened. What Anthropic shipped on Monday was deceptively simple. 3 plugins, 3 industries, complete chaos. But to understand why this announcement matters more than any other AI announcement you have heard, you need to understand what these plugins actually do, because they are not assistants. They are not co-pilots sitting beside you. They are full replacements that happen to be polite about it. Before February 24th, these were stable, profitable industries worth hundreds of billions combined. Legal research, financial modeling, corporate consulting. After February 24th, investors looked at all 3 of these industries and had the exact same thought. Why are we still paying humans to do what Claude does for $20 a month? First, Claude for Excel. This is not a calculator assistant that helps you sum a column. This is a full data analyst that writes formulas, builds financial models, spots errors you would never catch, and explains variance analysis in plain English. It does not just crunch numbers, it understands what the numbers mean. The median financial analyst in the United States makes $95,000 a year. Claude costs $20 a month. That is not a productivity tool. That is a price war that human labor cannot win. Every bank, every hedge fund, every consulting firm is doing this exact math right now. Second, Claude for PowerPoint. This does not just make your slides prettier. It structures your entire argument. It writes the narrative arc. It suggests data visualizations matched to your specific audience. Every McKinsey deck, every quarterly business review, every strategy presentation you have spent weekends building. Claude now does it in 20 minutes. If your entire job description can be summarized as translate data into slides, you just became redundant, not in 5 years. Not eventually, right now, today. The PowerPoint plugin does not just fill templates with your bullet points. It structures arguments from scratch, matches data visualizations to your audience tone, and optimizes for executive attention spans. It does the thinking part of your job. Third, and this is the big one, Claude for Slack, specifically the legal research integration. This is the plugin that nuked the stock market. It searches case law, summarizes precedents, and drafts legal memos. Faster than a junior associate, cheaper than a junior associate, and it does not need to sleep or bill hours. You know that $200,000 first-year associate job at a top law firm? The one where you bill 60 hours a week doing legal research and document review? Thomson Reuters and LexisNexis lost billions of dollars in market value because investors looked at Claude and thought, wait, why are we paying for that? So let us add this up. 3 plugins. Legal research, disrupted. Financial modeling, disrupted. Corporate presentations, disrupted. These are not fringe industries. These are the backbone of white-collar employment. Hundreds of thousands of jobs that pay 6 figures. And Claude just told all of them, I can do your job for less. Now you might be thinking that this is just another AI announcement. We have heard this before, right? AI has been coming for jobs since ChatGPT launched. Every quarter there is a new headline about automation. But here is why this time is fundamentally different from every other announcement you have ever seen. Let me be specific. Not some jobs might change eventually. Not maybe in 10 years we will see some disruption. These exact roles just got a target painted on them. Junior lawyers, financial analysts, corporate presenters, and consultants. If you are in one of these roles, you need to hear the next part carefully. Let us start with lawyers, specifically junior associates at major firms. Your entire first 2 years are spent doing legal research, reading case law, summarizing precedents, writing memos that a senior partner will barely glance at. Claude does all of that. It is not approximate. It is better because it never gets tired and never misses a citation. A junior associate bills $1,600 for 8 hours of legal research. Claude does the same research in 3 minutes for approximately 5 cents. Let me say that again. 5 cents. That is not a marginal improvement. That is a 32,000 to 1 cost advantage. No industry in the entire history of commerce has survived that kind of price compression without massive job losses on the other side. Next, financial analysts. You build financial models? Claude just learned your entire job. The Excel plugin does not just crunch numbers. It spots patterns humans miss, flags anomalies before they become problems, and explains complex variance analysis in plain English that a CEO can actually understand. Your expertise is now a feature. The median financial analyst costs their employer $45.67 per hour when you include benefits. Claude costs roughly 1 cent per hour of equivalent work. Do the math. Every CFO in America is looking at these numbers right now. They are not asking if they should switch. They are asking when. Finally, corporate presenters, middle managers, management consultants, strategy teams. Every person whose job involves turning data into narratives on slides. Claude for PowerPoint does not just fill templates. It structures arguments. It matches visualizations to your audience. It optimizes for attention spans. 20 minutes for what used to take an entire weekend. Let me say this plainly because I think people need to hear it. If your job can be described as taking information from one format and putting it into another format, you are in the blast radius. Data into slides, case law into memos, numbers into models. That is exactly what Claude was built to do. And before you tell yourself that your company would never replace you, remember what happened on February 24th. Billions left the market in hours. Investors did not wait for studies or pilot programs. They did the math and acted. The question is not whether companies will act on this. The question is, how fast? Here is why this announcement is fundamentally different. Reason 1, integration, not imitation. ChatGPT is a separate tool. You copy and paste. You switch windows. You are still in control. Claude is inside your workflow. When Excel opens, Claude is already there. When a Slack message arrives, Claude is already summarizing legal precedent. This distinction matters enormously. When AI is a separate tool, you are the operator. You decide when to use it. You maintain control. When AI is embedded inside the tools you already use, it is not a tool you operate. It is a replacement that runs alongside you. And eventually, your employer notices that your part is optional. Reason 2, enterprise grade, not experimental. Anthropic is not some scrappy startup running on venture capital and hope they have partnerships with Salesforce. With Zoom, with the biggest enterprise software companies on the planet, this is not a beta test. This is a product launch backed by companies that have your employer on speed dial. And companies are already pricing in the headcount reduction, not theoretically, not in strategic planning documents marked for next year. Right now, in the current quarter of this year, finance teams across the Fortune 500 are actively running scenarios on how many positions they can eliminate by deploying Claude across their existing Microsoft Office infrastructure. This is not a forecast. This is already happening. Reason 3, the market believes it. When billions of dollars leave an industry in a single trading day, that is not hype. That is not speculation. That is investors running the actual numbers and concluding that entire business models just died. They looked at legal research companies and did not see a threat. They saw an obituary. The progression is clear. If you look at the timeline, in 2024, AI was your assistant. In 2025, AI became your co-pilot. In 2026, AI is your replacement. Each step happened faster than the last. And if you are not already adapting, you are already behind. Enough doom, though. Let us talk survival. Okay, enough doom. Let us talk survival. Because there is actually a playbook here. If you are paying attention, the hottest job title emerging in 2026 is not AI engineer. It is not data scientist. It is something called an artificial intelligencer. Someone who manages AI systems professionally, not someone who gets replaced by them. And these roles pay 150 to 200,000. Here is what that role actually means. You do not write the code, you direct the AI that writes it. You do not do the analysis. You quality check the AI output and catch its mistakes. You do not build the deck. You orchestrate 5 different AIs and synthesize their work into something coherent. You are the manager now. The skills you need to build right now are these 3 things. First, prompt engineering, which seriously pays people $200,000 a year already. Second, AI output verification, meaning you learn to spot hallucinations and check sources before bad data reaches a client. And third, multi-tool orchestration, knowing when to use Claude versus GPT versus Gemini and for what. These skills make you irreplaceable. But there is also a human-only zone. Things AI cannot steal yet. Relationships, closing a $500,000 deal over dinner is still human work. Networking, negotiation, reading a room. Creativity with stakes, AI can write a script, but it cannot stake its reputation on a controversial take. And execution under uncertainty, messy, ambiguous problems still need you. Now for specific career pivots. If you are a junior lawyer, do not quit law. Pivot to AI-assisted litigation strategy. Let Claude handle the research while you focus on courtroom presence and client relationships. The lawyer who knows how to direct Claude is worth more than the lawyer who tries to compete with Claude. If you are a financial analyst, become an AI output auditor. Companies still need someone who can look at a model Claude generated and say this is garbage before it goes to the CEO. The human who can verify AI work is more valuable than the human who does the work AI already does. The pattern across every single one of these pivots is the same. Do not compete with AI. Manage it. Quality check it. Decide what it works on. The people who survive this transition are not the ones who work harder than the machine. They are the ones who learn to direct the machine. That is the playbook. Here is your concrete 90-day plan. And I mean this literally. Start tomorrow. Days 1 through 30. Sign up for Claude, GPT, and Gemini Pro. Use all 3 every single day for your actual work tasks. Learn their strengths. Claude is strongest at logic and analysis. GPT excels at creative writing. Gemini handles multimodal tasks. But most importantly, document where they fail. Those failures are exactly where your human value lives. Days 31 through 60. Take one task from your current job and automate it completely with AI. Then show your boss. Frame it as I am now 30% more productive. Do not say I could automate my whole job. Say I can manage 3 times the workload now. Position yourself as the operator, not the obsolete. Days 61 through 90. Update your LinkedIn. Add AI orchestration to your title. Start a side project where you manage AI agents for a small business. Build proof that you can do the job that replaces yours before someone else gets hired to do it. Make yourself undeniable before the layoff memos start circulating. February 24th, 2026 was the day the office job market started dying. Not in 10 years. Not eventually. Now. But you are watching this video, which means you are paying attention, which means you are ahead of 90% of people who will be in denial 6 months from now. Claude declared war. Are you learning to fight?